Alright guys, what we got here, this should be a shorter video. These are cartoons that I grew up on that I should not have been watching. And I'll try to keep the story short on this one. That are, classic sci-fi stuff, adult cartoons, that were movies and such. And basically, this is what I'm a fan of. Now, by no means am I saying go out and try to buy these and stuff, but take a few minutes on YouTube and look some of these movies up, or at least the trailers, see if they're kind of movies. What we have here is from 1985, Star Chaser, The Legend of Orn. We rented this when I was, I don't even think I was a teenager yet, and I really hate the cover to this. I found this on clearance just a few months ago, and it's just impossible to find, and I could not believe that not only did I find it, it was on clearance, and I about passed it up because this cover, I hate the cover, because the animation is phenomenal, and I have a feeling what they did is it was a type of animation where they had actors come in, and they traced over probably stills of the actors and stuff, because it's realistic, it's proportional, it's not cartoony. And just to tell you how the thing starts out and what it's about, I don't want to say it's a Star Wars knockoff by any means, but it was the 80s and everybody had a magical sword. Thundar had a sword, He-Man had a sword, Thundercats had a sword, Lion-O there, everybody had a magic sword. But anyway, basically what it starts out, it's these people who are slaves and they're mining underground, and they've been there for so long. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure it's generational, that they're getting men in armor, if not robots, are whipping them and stuff if they don't keep mining and everything. And they actually have a religious belief that you don't dig up. If you dig up, you go to hell. So they're real primitive. They've never seen the sky. They, what they think is around them. And the sword gets discovered, and he ends up, the sword has power, and I think it's fulfilling a prophecy or something. Who knows? But anyway, he goes up, and all of a sudden you're in this big future landscape. You think you're as shocked as he is if you don't know anything about the movie, and he's seeing, the sky, and he's seeing spaceships. He ends up meeting up with some, evil robots, a wisecracking intergalactic smuggler, and a heroic youth, and a beautiful princess. And of course, he's the youth. And right there, it sounds like Han Solo, Lois, Princess Leia. But I don't think it was a Star Wars knockoff by any means. Well, anyways, just really great stuff. One of my favorites. The next one I'm not going to get into because everybody should know this movie. This should be a staple. This is Heavy Metal, and it was a series of cartoons that aren't really written or drawn the same way. It's a couple little short stories there. Some Bernie Wrightson, Captain Stern. It's got a World War II sequence in it with a B-52 bomber with zombies or animated skeletons that crashes on this island. Just great stuff, and they're all linked by a little green orb, which is killing me because I'm going blank on what it's called in this. But anyway, what I want to point out here is that I don't know how many people saw The Fifth Element. I don't want to go all over the place here, but that was Bruce Willis as a cab driver in the future. And there's a story in here of a cab driver in the future. And as soon as I saw The Fifth Element, I'm like, they ripped off Heavy Metal. Great stuff. This next one, I am a huge fan of this. It is Ralph Bakshi. And I'm trying to think who the guys are that did all this stuff. But anyway, this is Wizards. I saw Wizards when I was 4 years old at a community college that my stepdad and my mother took me. They were very young. Real hippie-ish, let me tell you that right now. But basically what has happened is that we blew up the earth. Nuclear war blew it up. Thousands of years later, all the fairies and dwarves and everything have woke up. And they're back. And in the midst of all the elves and everything coming back and, trying to reclaim the world and building their kingdoms again. There are two. There's two babies born, and they both are taught wizard ways, and one becomes, believe his name was Necron, and he ended up being evil. Let me make sure here. Sorry, it's not Necron, it's Black Wolf. Anyway, Black Wolf, ends up being an evil wizard, and he goes off to the mutants, the leftovers of the of nuclear apocalypse and stuff. And his brother Avatar grows up to be a great wizard also, and they're going to fight. It's going to be, Black Wolf finds some propaganda there of Hitler, and he basically teaches all the mutants and stuff about. He brings them together and gives them something to fight for, and they end up believing in this Nazi belief. It's pretty heavy stuff, but basically after watching the commentary on this and everything like that, one of the animators that came on this movie used to do Tom and Jerry cartoons, and when he came there, all the other animators quit working because they could, what he was doing was phenomenal in their eyes. Also, there was a low budget. Now, I think the low budget, I never would have noticed it because what Ralph Bakshi was complaining about is my favorite scene. Weehawk is a little warrior elf, and this guy who ends up being named Peace, I think his real name was Necron 99 or something. Anyway, there's a part where they're fighting each other and they're stalking each other, and there's no sound, there's just footsteps as he's walking. And it just draws you in, and all of a sudden Weehawk comes busting out of the bushes, and they're screaming. They go over a cliff, and they're fighting, falling in slow motion pretty much, well, not slow motion, but just slowly into this lake. And the whole time you got him trying to shoot Weehawk, and Weehawk is sitting there swinging his sword. Just a great little sequence. Now, a lot of people who watch this, think it's crap. Well, I guess you had to be there. This is from the 70s. And it's actually a weird part of my childhood. I bootlegged this thing on VHS all through the 80s and early 90s. When this was coming out, this is one of the first DVDs I bought at full price, and I've had it ever since. It was $10, and it was well worth the money. Okay, this one's also from Ralph Bakshi, 1973, and it's called Heavy Traffic, and I got a feeling this is a little bit autobiographical. It is dirty, sleazy New York in the early 70s. This guy is an artist, and at the beginning of it, it's live action, and he's playing a pinball machine. That's one of the reasons this movie really grabbed me, because when I was a kid, I used to go through all the couches and the pile of laundry in the bathroom, and like I said, my stepdad and mom were young, so they had company all the time and stuff. And I'd get hands full of quarters, and back then you could actually walk around as a 4 and 5-year-old and not worry about being kidnapped and stuff. And I would go to the store next door, get me a peach knee-high, a handful of Kiss or Superman cards, movie trading cards, get a milk crate up there, put my peach knee-high on the pinball machine and play it. So this starts out with a pinball machine, which I guess is supposed to be symbolic of this guy's life. Anyway, his parents is a cheating Catholic. Well, is he Jewish or Catholic? Anyway, one parent is Catholic, one parent is Jewish. His dad cheats on his mom. There's a bunch of greasers there that are picking on the guy, and this has nudity in it, and he falls in love with this, black girl, and it's just, it's bookended with live action. Let's put it that way. And like I said, it's just it's absurd. It's black comedy in my opinion, and it's just dirty and nasty 70s stuff. And I mean dirty and nasty as not in like well, there's some dirty jokes in there, but we won't get into that. And there are animated movies in this. And see if we can get. Yeah, they'll give you an idea. And the trailer is probably on YouTube also. Heavy Traffic. Okay, moving on here. This is also from 1973, and I believe that this is by a famous, I don't know if he's an animator, design artist, or a writer, but he's a famous French cartoonist named René Ledoux. Okay, and Fantastic Planet is hardcore science fiction, and basically you have the giants that you see there, and we as people are their pets. And you see the scale of all this and stuff. And this won a Cannes Film Festival award, and it's a struggle of freedom by a race of humanoid creatures against the OMS, O-M-S. And you know, this is on a different planet and everything. This is hardcore sci-fi. I love the animation. It's almost Monty Pythonish with Terry Gilliam's style, you know, two-dimensional objects with heavy shading and stuff, trying to make them look round and stuff. It's not surreal like Terry Gilliam's stuff. It's just the animation style puts me in mind of it. This is a bootleg copy because I can't find it anywhere that's affordable. Okay, so fast forward here to 1985, and you're going to have my favorite, possibly my favorite sci-fi of all time. Now, I want to tell you that this is heavy science fiction. You're going to have to think to watch it. You cannot get up or you'll miss something. And this was Isaac Asimov wrote the screenplays for this. Isaac Asimov is one of the most acclaimed sci-fi writers ever. The guy taught physics or something at Harvard, and he put out a book every 6 weeks for decades. And before that, he was writing in 1940s. He was, you know, a teenager writing sci-fi stories and fanzines and stuff. Okay, so this guy wrote forever, and he was a consultant on the first Star Trek movie for you know, tractors out there. But anyway, this is animated by the same person who did Fantastic Planet that I just showed you, and it was originally called Gondahar. The movie was in French, and this is the U.S. version. They dubbed over it. And if you go to my page and look at my recent activity, I went ahead and favorited. This whole movie is actually on YouTube. Now, let me warn you, I see there are boobies in it, and you know, if you like blue people with wings on their head and their boobies hanging out, I don't judge. You know, and if it offends you, then don't go there. But you know, if you're into blue boobies, if you're an Avatar fan and you want to see what you were missing or whatnot, I'm not pushing that, and I'm not, you know, I neither confirm or deny whatever you want to do. But anyway, seriously, the people who dubbed over this, there are some amazing people on here. You got Glenn Close, Jennifer Grey, Christopher Plummer. You got Penn and Teller doing some voices in here. David Johansen of the New York Dolls / Buster Poindexter in there. Bridget Fonda. Just a really great story. But anyway, what happens is that Gondahar are in genetics. It doesn't say that, but if you think about it, you see what's going on. They are in perfect harmony with nature, and they've done genetics on the plants and on the animals and on their cells. That's why people look kind of funky. This lady actually has these weird wings on her head and stuff. Council of Women. Anyway, but all of a sudden these metal men pop up, and they're shooting people and turning them into stone. And they send out, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Sylvain. They're sending out Sylvain out to find out what's going on. And you come to find out that along the way he is captured by the Deformed. The Deformed is your first clue of the genetics in here, because they're all messed up. 6, 7, 8 arms, 5 or 6 heads, walking on their hands. Really remind me a lot of Bernie Wright's and Swamp Thing stuff for you comic book people out there. But you know, I'm geeking out too much there. And there's a big riddle. Basically, Sylvain is not going to find out who is doing this until 1,000 years in the future. And it does that. It's time travel. It has a riddle of how he is going to be able to discover this. But if you are into heavy duty sci-fi, this is probably, you know, really cream. This is it. This is it. I've never seen anything like it. I haven't seen a story that touched it. So give it a shot. Alright. Just a few things I have laying around here, so I figure, you know, check it out. Later.